James and the Giant Peach. Written by Roald Dahl. Copyright 1961. Illustrated by Lane Smith. Copyright 1996. Published by Puffin Books and the Penguin Group. "What are you looking so worried about, Earthworm?" the centipede asked. "What's the problem?" "The problem is," the Earthworm said, "the problem is, well, the problem is that there is no problem." Everyone burst out laughing. "Cheer up, Earthworm," they said. "Come and eat." And they all went over to the tunnel entrance and began scooping out great chunks of juicy, golden-colored peach flesh. "Oh, marvelous," said the centipede, stuffing it into his mouth. "Delicious," said the old green grasshopper. "Just fabulous," said the glowworm. "Oh, my," said the ladybug primly. "What a heavenly taste!" She looked up at James, and she smiled, and James smiled back at her. They sat down on the deck together, both of them chewing away happily. "You know, James," the ladybug said, "up until this moment, I have never in my life tasted anything except those tiny little green flies that live on rose bushes. They have a perfectly delightful flavor, but this peach is even better." "Isn't it glorious?" Miss Spider said, coming over to join them. "Personally, I had always thought that it was a big, juicy, caught-in-the-web blue bottle was the finest dinner in the world, till I tasted this." "What a flavor!" the centipede cried. "It's terrific." "There's nothing like it. There never has been. And I should know because I personally have tasted all the finest foods in the world." Whereupon the centipede, with his mouth full of peach and with juice running down all over his chin, suddenly burst out into song. "I've eaten many strange and scrumptious dishes in my time, like jellied gnats and dandyprats and earwigs cooked in slime, and mice with rice. They're really nice when roasted in their prime, but don't forget to sprinkle them with just a pinch of grime. I've eaten fresh mud burgers by the greatest cooks there are, and scrambled dregs and stink-bug eggs and hornets stewed in tar, and pails of snails and lizard tails and beetles by the jar. A beetle is improved by just a splash of vinegar. I often eat boiled slobbages. They're grand when served beside minced doodlebugs and curried slugs. And have you ever tried mosquitoes' toes and wampfish roes, most delicately fried? The only trouble is they disagree with my insides. I'm mad for crispy wasp stings on a piece of buttered toast, and pickled spines of porcupines, and then a gorgeous roast of dragon's flesh, well hung, not fresh. It costs a buck at most, and come to you in barrels if you order at my post. I crave the tasty tentacles of octopi for tea. I like hot dogs, I like hot frogs, and surely you'll agree. A plate of soil with engine's oil's a super recipe. I hardly need to mention that it's practically free. For dinner on my birthday, shall I tell you what I chose? Hot noodles made from poodles on a slice of garden hose, and a rather smelly jelly made of armadillo toes. The jelly is delicious, but you have to hold your nose. Now comes, the centipede declared, the burden of my speech. These foods are rare beyond compare, some are right out of reach, but there's no doubt I'd go without 1,000,000 plates of each for one small mite, one tiny bite of this fantastic peach. Everybody was feeling happy now. The sun was shining brightly out of a soft blue sky, and the day was calm. The giant peach, with the sunlight glinting on its side, was like a massive golden ball sailing upon a silver sea. Chapter 19. "Look!" cried the centipede, just as they were finishing their meal. "Look at that funny, thin black thing gliding through the water over there." They all swung around to look. "There are 2 of them," said Miss Spider. "There's lots of them," said the ladybug. What are they? Asked the earthworm, getting worried. They must be some kind of fish, said the old green grasshopper. Perhaps they have come along to say hello. They are sharks, cried the earthworm. I'll bet you anything that you like that they are sharks and they have come along to eat us. What absolute rot, the centipede said, but his voice seemed suddenly to have become a little shaky, and he wasn't laughing. I am positive they are sharks, said the earthworm. I just know they are sharks. And so, in actual fact, did everybody else. But they were too frightened to admit it. There was a short silence. They all peered down anxiously at the sharks, who were cruising slowly round and round the peach. Just assume that they are sharks, the centipede said. There still can't possibly be any danger if we stay up here. But even as he spoke, one of those thin black fins suddenly changed directions and came cutting swiftly through the water right up to the side of the peach itself. The shark paused and stared up at the company with small, evil eyes. Go away, they shouted. Go away, you filthy beast. Slowly, almost lazily, the shark opened his mouth, which was big enough to have swallowed a perambulator, and made a lunge at the peach. They all watched aghast, and now, as though at a signal from the leader, all the other sharks came swimming in toward the peach, and they clustered around it and began to attack it furiously. There must have been 20 or 30 of them at least, all pushing and fighting and lashing their tails and churning the water into a froth. Panic and pandemonium broke out immediately on top of the peach. Oh, we are finished now, cried Miss Spider, wringing her feet. They will eat up the whole peach, and then there'll be nothing left for us to stand on, and they'll start on us. She's right, shouted the ladybug. We are lost forever. Oh, I don't want to be eaten, wailed the earthworm. But they will take me first of all because I am so fat and juicy and I have no bones. Is there nothing we can do? Asked the ladybug, appealing to James. Surely you can think of a way out for us. Suddenly they were all looking at James. Think, begged Miss Spider. Think, James, think. Come on, said the centipede. Come on, James, there must be something we can do. Their eyes waited upon him, tense, anxious, pathetically hopeful.